In this video, we will look at images of epithelial tissue, the various types of epithelial tissue. So just to recap, when naming epithelial tissue, we use two classification schemes. The first is based on the number of layers of cells, and the second is based on the shape of the cells. So simple means that there is only one layer of cells. Stratified means that there's more than one layer. Pseudostratified means that it looks like there's more than one layer, but there's actually only one layer. And then the shape of the cells, squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and transitional is a special type, and we will discuss that when we get to transitional epithelium. But the name is it transitions from one shape to another, so that's why it's called transitional. We will look at slides of all of these except for the stratified cuboidal and the stratified columnar. Although there are examples of those in the human body, they are not as common as the other ones, so that's why we don't look at those. And sometimes they're a little bit more difficult to identify under the microscope. So the first one here is simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium, as its name implies, is only one cell layer, and it's made up of squamous shaped cells. So the squamous shape, if you were looking at them from above, and if you look at my little picture up here in the top right hand corner, this is a cheek smear. And so we have taken some of the cells from the inside of the cheek and smeared them on a microscope slide, and now we're looking at them, and it's like we're looking down on these cells, and they look sort of like little fried eggs. That's what the squamous shape. They are very thin. They are scale-like. That's what squamous means. And then the bigger image that's on the slide, this is an image of the alveolar sacs in the lungs. And the majority of the alveolar sacs are made up of simple squamous epithelium. And this is like we're looking at it from the side. So they're very, very flat, very, very thin. And again, we go back to that form and function, or function follows form, complementarity of form and function. And we see it here with these epithelial cells. So simple squamous epithelial cells are very, very thin, which will allow for things to diffuse across those cells very easily. And that's exactly what the function of these simple squamous epithelial cells. It allows for diffusion to take place. So for example, in the lungs, in the alveolar sacs of the lungs, it is important that these cells allow for oxygen and carbon dioxide to diffuse across the cellular surface. So it's important that that thin form, that thin structure of these cells, of this tissue, is important for the function that the tissue performs. So the location, there's various locations for simple squamous epithelium. We see simple squamous epithelium in the glomeruli of the kidney. The glomeruli, anytime you see the word glomerulus, you should automatically think capillary. And that's exactly what the kidney glomerulus is. It's a ball of capillaries, and capillaries are only one cell layer thick, and that cell layer is going to be simple squamous epithelium. The air sacs of the lungs, which is what we see in this big image here on the right, those are the alveoli of the lungs. Those are the air sacs. We see simple squamous in the lining of the heart, in the innermost surface where the blood passes through or over. That's going to be simple squamous epithelium. Another name for the lining of the heart is called the endocardium. Blood vessels, the innermost lining of the blood vessels, the endothelium, the tunica interna, is made of simple squamous epithelium. And we also see simple squamous in the lymphatic vessels, and also lining various body cavities. It says here lining of the ventral body cavity, which yes, that's true, but also lining of the some of the mucous membrane. So like in your oral cavity, the lining is going to be simple squamous epithelium. But again, very thin, allows for diffusion of materials. Okay, next slide, we have simple cuboidal epithelium. So again, simple means one cell layer thick, but now we have cube-shaped cells. So if you look on the right-hand side, each of these little circles are a group of simple cuboidal epithelium. And so what these simple cuboidal epithelium, they form tubes, which is exactly what we see here. We're looking at a cross section of a tube. This is probably, it is in the kidney tubules. So these cuboidal epithelial cells form tubes throughout wherever they're located. You can see simple cuboidal in other glands. So let's look at the location here on the left. So the kidney tubules, the ducts and secretory portions of small glands, and also on the surface of the ovary, we see simple cuboidal. So in the kidney tubules and in the ducts of glands, we see tubes that are formed by these cells. So if we look at one individual cell, let me see if I can get a different color up here, possibly. Let me get yellow. So if we look at one little thing here, that is one little individual cell, and you can see that the nucleus is very prominent. And that is typical of cuboidal cells. So it's a square-shaped cell with a very prominent, centrally located nucleus. So we've talked about the locations, and then as far as the functions of simple cuboidal, we see simple cuboidal epithelium in areas where absorption and secretion takes place. So in the kidney tubules, when you get to the urinary system and anatomy physiology 2, the kidney tubules, you will see absorption and you will see secretion of certain materials. In glands, the function of glands is to secrete whatever their product may be. So these cells are going to be responsible for secreting that product into the tube. And then in the lining of the ovary, when you get to the reproductive system, you'll look at the ovary in a lot of detail. But this is where we will see the follicles that will eventually become the ova. We see those in the ovary. Okay, and here's just another micrograph. I'm not exactly sure where this is. It looks like probably some type of salivary gland. But if you look at, so it's a gland. I do know it's a gland. So I still have my yellow. So you can see that the individual cells are sort of box shaped, and it has a large centrally located nucleus. And again, you see that apical surface. So this is the apical surface that's facing the lumen of the tube. This is probably a secretory duct, or the center of the duct. So that's where the apical or the free surface is, and then the basal surface will be connected to an underlying layer of connective tissue. Okay, and then we come to simple columnar. So again, simple means one cell layer thick. Columnar, the cells are longer than they are wide, so they form a column shape. And so if I can get my pen. So if we look here, we see columns, but again, they form usually, you'll see simple columnar in the linings of organs. So like, for example, in the stomach, the inner lining of the stomach is made of simple columnar epithelium. Oftentimes the apical surface, so up here, this is the free surface that will not be attached to anything. Oftentimes the apical surface will have these structures at microvilli, and actually, because this is a microvilli, then I can look down here at the bottom, and it will tell you that that's part of the intestine. So microvilli are these little extensions that come off the apical surface of these columnar cells, and they help move things along the surface of the tissue. Another characteristic of simple columnar, and this is a way to help distinguish it from pseudostratified, and I should have had pseudostratified up again next to this one, but the nuclei, let me get a different color here for the nuclei. The nuclei are all in like a single layer. So they're just like straight across. Whereas in pseudostratified, they would be in different layers, and we'll look at that in just a minute. So the location of simple columnar, you have non-ciliated types, so don't have cilia or microvilli on the top. You see non-ciliated in the stomach and in the rectum. We have well, we don't have cilia, non-ciliated, but they do have microvilli in the intestines. So the microvilli are like these extensions of the plasma membrane, a little bit different than cilia. We have non-ciliated columnar in the gallbladder and in excretory ducts of some glands. And then we also have ciliated versions of columnar epithelium. We see ciliated versions in the bronchi, so in the respiratory tract, in the uterine tubes, and then in some areas of the uterus. And the function of these are going to be absorption and secretion as well. And depending on where the simple columnar is, depends on what's going to be secreted. So, for example, in the stomach, you have simple columnar that's going to secrete mucus, and you're going to have some enzymes too that are going to be secreted in the stomach. In the intestines, you will have various enzymes. You'll also have mucus too. So a lot of times you'll see goblet cells. So if you see this structure here, this is a goblet cell, and goblet cells will secrete mucus to keep the lining lubricated. And then, so the major function would be absorption and secretion. You do see the ciliated versions will help move things, so like in the reproductive tract. But the function of simple columnar epithelium is absorption and secretion. And then here's just another example. This looks like it may be in the intestines. But again, the nuclei are like in one layer, and that's going to be distinctive, help you distinguish the simple columnar from the pseudostratified epithelium. So here we have pseudostratified epithelium, and typically pseudostratified epithelium, you're going to see cilia, okay? And then the nuclei are in different layers. So that's why it gives an appearance of being pseudostratified, because it appears that the cells are in different layers. But if you follow the apical surface down, you will see that it's only one cell layer, so it would be pseudostratified. Locations of pseudostratified, you do have non-ciliated versus and ciliated versions. Non-ciliated would be in the ducts of the male reproductive tract, so like the vas deferens and the epididymis and things like that. But that would be in the male reproductive tract. And then the ciliated versions would be in the respiratory tract, the upper respiratory tract, so like the trachea. And before you get to the bronchi of the lungs, we would see ciliated pseudostratified epithelium. And the function would be secretion. We do see goblet cells. I don't think one's pictured in this image here, but you do have goblet cells that will secrete mucus, and it will help propel that mucus over the lining of the tissue. So, and that's important in the respiratory tract because you're trying to keep things out of the lungs. So the cilia will help propel things